Hi.
So I wanted to kind of piggyback off what you said about hate crimes being on the rise here in America, and especially in the past 3 years. So I travel throughout the country speaking to the violence and the victimization against the LGBTQ community, but I have a really passion for the Black trans woman who is being murdered in this country every day, and no investigation, no recourse. A lot of times there's no even follow-up with the family. So I go to court with the ladies that have been shot and killed here, and I do the secondary care with the families and go to the hospitals and the court dates. So I really want to hear about how we can establish protection for us. One of my clients last year was shot in the middle of the afternoon at a gas station. And because we don't have a discrimination order here for LGBT community members from a federal level, when we prosecuted him, we had all the footage and everything from a green light gas station. We could only prosecute him and charge him with ethnic intimidation. That's a real problem when you shoot someone in broad daylight in the middle of the afternoon because they're transgender. It's clearly a hate crime, but we couldn't prosecute it under hate crime because we don't have the ordinance, we don't have the protection. So I really am concerned about the Black trans woman because I am a Black trans woman, and I also have to respect my privilege in being able to occupy certain spaces. This is not the reality for most of my sisters that look like me and that come from means of me. So I'm really interested in how you'll be intentional about wanting to include us, wanting to protect us. We're not asking for special rights, we're asking for human rights that everyone.
A couple of questions about what the LGBTQ community is experiencing. We were talking about hate crimes and intolerance in this country. Some are feeling it more than others. And then a specific question about transgender women of color and the violence that is perpetrated against them. What will we do about this? And again, to provide the context and establish where we are. In my home state of Texas, it is a legal defense to kill someone who comes onto you of the same gender. In my home state of Texas, there are 30,000 kids in the foster care system, a foster care system so under-resourced that at Child Protective Services, some kids are sleeping under the desks, on top of the tables. There are not enough available homes. And yet in Texas, you can be too gay to adopt one of those kids into your homes, literally, legally, by law in Texas. That's why as president, I will sign into law the Equality Act, which guarantees the full civil rights of every single man, regardless of their sexual orientation. And on this specific issue, transgender women of color being victims of violence and the crimes not being followed up on or justice not being served, to touch on what I learned yesterday in Milwaukee with this extraordinary organization called Block, we began talking about human trafficking. And young African-American women and young African-American girls who are trafficked in the community of Milwaukee and communities all over this country. And when their parents report them missing for a day, 2 days, 3 days, the police say, well, let's see if she comes back home. As though she did this of her own volition. And very often, that girl, that young woman, is prosecuted as though she were the perpetrator of the crime instead of the victim. When we treat people with this level of basic disrespect, it is no wonder that people feel free to commit these crimes with almost something approaching absolute impunity. We have to make sure that justice is served for everyone, that all lives are created equally so they're treated with equal value within this criminal justice system, not some more than others. And that includes transgender women. You ask me how I'm going to get better on this. If you're willing to, I would love to have your help in being my guide on this issues to get better. Cynthia's going to get